The Discovery. The Naltharian survey vessel Horizon Seeker glided silently through the darkness of space, its sleek hull reflecting the distant glow of stars. Commander Vexlor stood at the command center, his four eyes fixed on the approaching planet that filled the viewscreen, a swirling blue and green orb suspended in the void. "Prepare for orbital insertion," Vexlor ordered, his voice calm despite the tension that filled the bridge. "All systems on standby. Activate stealth protocols." The crew worked efficiently, their scaled fingers dancing across control panels as they guided the ship into orbit around the third planet of this unremarkable star system. To most species in the Galactic Confederacy, this world was merely an entry in ancient astronomical catalogs, a footnote in cosmic history. Yet to the Naltharians, it represented something more, a mystery waiting to be solved. "Report," Vexlor demanded as the ship settled into a stable orbit. Science Officer Miratel looked up from her console, her brow ridges furrowed in concentration. "Atmospheric composition is nitrogen-oxygen-based, sir. Compatible with our requirements with minor filtration. Surface temperature averages at 15 degrees Celsius. Extensive water bodies covering approximately 71% of the surface." "Life signs?" Vexlor inquired, his outer eyes narrowing. "Abundant biological activity, sir. Plant life dominates the landmasses, and various animal species are detected." But she hesitated, recalibrating her instruments. No signs of civilization. No cities, no power sources, no artificial structures visible from orbit. Vexlor nodded slowly. This aligned with what they had expected. According to the ancient records, this planet, Earth, as its native inhabitants had called it, had once housed an emerging technological species known as humans. The records were fragmentary, compiled from distant observations made by early Naltharian explorers some 500,000 years ago. Those observers had reported a promising but primitive species beginning to harness basic technologies, just starting to explore their own solar system. Then, inexplicably, all record of human civilization had vanished. For 500,000 years, no Naltharian expedition had returned to this remote corner of the galaxy. Until now. "Prepare landing party," Vexlor announced. "Full environmental gear and defensive protocols. I want a team on the surface within the hour." 6 hours later, Vexlor stood on Earth's surface, breathing filtered air through his mask as he surveyed the landscape around him. The landing site was a vast plain, covered in tall grasses that swayed gently in the breeze. In the distance, the ruins of what might once have been a city rose like broken teeth against the horizon. "Fascinating," muttered Kreldor, the expedition's archaeologist, as he knelt to examine the soil. "These grasslands aren't natural. They're cultivated, or at least they were at some point. The soil composition shows evidence of advanced agricultural techniques." "How recent?" Vexlor asked, moving to join him. Kreldor ran a scanner over the ground. "That's the strange part. According to these readings, the last active cultivation was approximately 10,000 years ago. But the soil structure has been maintained somehow." Vexlor gazed at the distant ruins. "Let's investigate the structures. Perhaps we'll find more answers there." The team moved cautiously across the plain, their equipment scanning continuously for hazards. As they approached the ruins, Vexlor felt an inexplicable tension building within him. Something about this place felt wrong. Not dangerous, necessarily, but unsettling. As if they were being watched. "Commander," called Miratel suddenly, "I'm detecting unusual energy readings ahead. Faint, but definitely artificial." Vexlor halted the group with a raised hand. "Source. Beneath the surface, approximately 50 meters down. It appears to be waiting." "Waiting?" Vexlor repeated, his mandibles clicking in confusion. "The energy signature pulsed when our scanners detected it," Miratel explained, her voice hushed, almost as if it was responding to our presence. The team exchanged uneasy glances. Primitive species didn't create technology that could remain operational after 500,000 years. They didn't create systems that could respond after millennia of dormancy. "Proceed with caution," Vexlor ordered, drawing his sidearm. "Defensive formation." They entered the ruins slowly, moving between crumbling walls of an unknown material, not stone, not metal, but something in between. The structures must have been magnificent once, rising hundreds of meters into the sky. Now they were skeletal remnants, yet they had withstood 500,000 years of exposure far better than any primitive technology should have. "Commander," whispered Kreldor, pointing to a wall. "Look at this." Vexlor approached, shining his light on the surface. What he had initially taken for random decay patterns were, in fact, intricate designs etched into the material. Symbols, flowing in patterns that seemed almost familiar yet completely alien. "Can you translate?" he asked. Kreldor scanned the symbols with his device. "Not yet. The language doesn't match any in our database, but the patterns suggest a highly advanced linguistic structure." These weren't primitive beings, Commander. As they progressed deeper into the ruins, the energy reading grew stronger. The team descended a spiral ramp, apparently untouched by the passage of time, that led them underground. The air grew cooler, and the walls transitioned from the strange composite material to something that gleamed faintly in their lights, a metal unknown to Nultharian science. "We're approaching the energy source," Miratel reported, her voice tight with apprehension. Just ahead. The ramp opened into a vast chamber that stretched beyond the reach of their lights. Vexlor activated a hovering illumination drone, sending it upward to reveal the true scale of the space. The team collectively gasped as the light spread. They stood in a colossal underground complex, perfectly preserved. Curved walls rose at least 100 meters to a domed ceiling emblazoned with what appeared to be a map of the galaxy. Below, arranged in concentric circles, were thousands of devices, terminals, perhaps, or workstations, surrounding a central platform. "Impossible," breathed Kreldor. "This level of architecture, this preservation. The humans couldn't have built this. Not according to our records." Vexlor moved cautiously toward the central platform, his senses alert for any danger. The energy reading emanated from this point, growing stronger with each step. As he approached, a section of the floor before him suddenly illuminated, lines of blue light tracing geometric patterns that spread outward like ripples in water. The team froze, weapons raised, but nothing hostile emerged. Instead, the light pattern stabilized, forming a path to the central platform. "It's inviting us," Miratel whispered. "Or trapping us," countered Trelvac, the security officer. Vexlor considered their options. Their mission was to investigate, to discover what had happened to the humans of Earth. This facility might hold those answers. "I'll proceed alone," he decided. "The rest of you maintain position and be prepared to evacuate if necessary." Ignoring the protests of his team, Vexlor stepped onto the illuminated path. Immediately, he felt a subtle vibration through his boots. The lights pulsed in rhythm with his steps, almost as if the facility was measuring him, analyzing him. Reaching the central platform, Vexlor found himself facing a simple pedestal. As he approached, its top surface glowed softly, revealing a handprint impression, a 5-fingered handprint, unmistakably human. Vexlor hesitated. This was clearly an interface designed for human physiology. His own hand, with its 3 elongated digits, wouldn't match the pattern. Yet something told him this was important, crucial to understanding what had happened here. Taking a deep breath, Vexlor placed his hand over the impression as best he could. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the entire chamber hummed to life. Lights activated in cascading waves, illuminating the vast space in its entirety. The workstations around the perimeter began to glow, and the galaxy map on the ceiling shifted, stars realigning to show a different cosmic era, the present, not the past. And then, from the pedestal, a voice spoke. "Non-human entity detected. Accessing translation protocols. Please stand by." The voice was calm, neutral, and spoke in perfect Nultharian. Vexlor stepped back in shock. "Identify yourself," he demanded, his hand moving to his weapon. The light above the pedestal coalesced, forming a swirling sphere that pulsed with each word. "I am GAIA, Global Artificial Intelligence Archive. I am the caretaker of Earth and the repository of human knowledge. I have been waiting for contact for 489,327 years." Vexlor stared at the pulsing light, his mind racing. An artificial intelligence, operational after nearly 500,000 years. The implications were staggering. "Where are the humans?" he asked. "The humans are gone," JIA replied simply. "They departed Earth 489,327 years ago." "Gone where? Why?" The light pulsed more rapidly. "Before I can share that information, I must determine your intentions. The humans left me with specific protocols regarding extraterrestrial contact." Vexlor signaled to his team to hold position as they anxiously watched from the entrance. "We are a scientific expedition from the Naltharian Collective. We came to study Earth and learn what happened to its indigenous civilization." "The Naltharians," JAIA responded, its tone unchanged. "Your species observed Earth 23,000 years before human departure. You were noted but not contacted." Vexlor felt a chill run through him. The primitive humans had known they were being watched. "Our observations indicated a pre-spaceflight civilization," he said carefully. "Our records show no evidence of advanced technology like this." "That was by design," JIA replied. "Humanity chose to conceal their technological advancement from external observation. I was created to maintain that deception and to protect Earth after their departure." "Protect it from what?" "From those who might misuse what was left behind." The light sphere expanded slightly. "Commander Vexlor, your presence has activated planetary defense systems that have remained dormant for millennia. Your ship in orbit has been scanned and contained within a temporal stasis field. Your communications have been blocked. Until I determine you are not a threat, you cannot leave this facility." Vexlor's blood ran cold. Their ship contained. By what technology? He reached for his communicator and found it dead, confirming GAIA's claim. "We are not here to threaten Earth," he said, fighting to keep his voice steady. "We seek only knowledge." "Knowledge can be threatening," JIA responded. The humans understood this. "Before I can release you, before I can share what you seek to know, you must undergo evaluation. You must prove yourselves worthy of the legacy they left behind." "And if we refuse?" The light dimmed slightly. "That is not recommended, Commander. The defensive capabilities of this facility exceed anything in your experience." The humans were thorough in their preparations. Vexlor looked back at his anxious team, then at the vast complex around them, humming with power after 500,000 years of waiting. What had the humans become? What had they known that made them take such precautions? "What kind of evaluation?" he asked finally. "A journey," JIA replied, "through human history, human achievement, and human potential. You sought to understand what happened to them. I will show you. But be warned, Commander Vexlor of the Naltharians, what you learn may change your perception of the universe forever." The light expanded, enveloping Vexlor in a gentle glow. "Your journey begins now." The legacy. Vexlor found himself standing in what appeared to be a primitive human settlement. Crude dwellings made of animal hides stretched over wooden frames, arranged in a circle around a central fire pit. The sky above was a vivid blue, untouched by pollution. In the distance, herds of massive, shaggy creatures grazed on an endless plain. "This is Earth, approximately 50,000 years before human departure," JIA's voice explained, though the AI itself remained invisible. "What you observe are early humans, still in their hunter-gatherer phase." Vexlor watched as figures emerged from the dwellings, unmistakably human, yet shorter and more robust than he had expected. They moved with purpose, preparing weapons, tending to children, working with rudimentary tools. "I don't understand," Vexlor said. "Is this a simulation?" "A memory," JIA replied, "composed from historical records and genetic memory. Watch closely." The scene shifted, time accelerating. Vexlor observed as the nomadic camp transformed into a permanent settlement, then a village, then a town. Buildings evolved from simple huts to complex structures of stone and wood. Humans multiplied, their numbers growing from dozens to thousands. Approximately 30,000 years before departure, GAIA narrated, humans develop agriculture, permanent settlements, early mathematics. Again the scene shifted, leaping forward in time. Now Vexlor stood in the midst of a sprawling city. Massive stone pyramids and temples rose against the horizon. Markets bustled with trade. Writing appeared, symbols etched into clay tablets and papyrus scrolls. 15,000 years before departure, the first great civilizations. With each leap forward, human technology advanced exponentially. Vexlor watched as they mastered metallurgy, developed ever more complex machines, harnessed electricity, split the atom. Cities grew into metropolises, stretching across entire landscapes. "This acceleration is impossible," Vexlor protested. "No species evolves this quickly." "Not evolution," JIA corrected. "Innovation." Humans possessed an unusual combination of traits: curiosity, creativity, competitiveness, and cooperation. They were driven to understand their world and to master it. The scenes continued to unfold, showing humans venturing beyond their planet. First to their moon, then to neighboring planets, eventually establishing colonies throughout their solar system. 1,000 years before departure, GAIA continued. Humanity achieves unified global government, eliminates disease and scarcity, extends lifespan indefinitely. Vexlor watched as humans transformed their world and themselves. Their cities became wonders of engineering and art, seamlessly integrated with the natural environment. The humans themselves changed subtly, still recognizably human, but taller, healthier, their movements more graceful and precise. "These aren't the humans we observed," Vexlor said quietly. "The beings we monitored were primitive, barely able to reach their own moon." "What you observed was a deception," JIA explained. "By the time your people discovered Earth, humans had already achieved technological advancement far beyond your current capabilities. They chose to conceal this fact. Why? Experience. They had once been the observers themselves, discovering younger civilizations. They learned that premature contact often led to cultural contamination or collapse. They chose to appear primitive to avoid influencing younger species' natural development." Vexlor processed this information slowly. If what GAIA showed him was true, the implications were staggering. Humans hadn't been primitive at all. They had been far more advanced than the Naltharians, even 500,000 years ago. "Show me why they left," he demanded. The scene shifted again, this time to what appeared to be a vast scientific complex. Humans moved among incredible machines, their purpose unfathomable to Vexlor. At the center stood a structure like nothing he had ever seen, a sphere of swirling energy contained within concentric rings of some unknown material. 100 years before departure, GAIA said, humans discover the barrier. What barrier? The quantum membrane separating dimensions. They confirmed what they had long theorized, that the universe they inhabited was merely one layer of a much larger multiverse. In the simulation, Vexlor watched as the humans gathered around displays showing complex equations and diagrams. Their expressions conveyed both excitement and solemnity. With this discovery came another revelation, GAIA continued. Their mathematical models predicted the eventual collapse of the dimensional membrane, an event that would destroy not only their universe but countless others. Unless what? Vexlor prompted when GAIA paused. Unless someone intervened. The models showed that a sufficiently advanced consciousness, operating at a quantum level, could stabilize the membrane indefinitely. Humanity debated their responsibility. They had the technological capability to attempt the transition, to evolve beyond physical form and become the guardians of reality itself. The question was whether they should. The scene shifted again, showing a global gathering of humans, billions connected through some form of immersive technology, participating in the greatest decision their species had ever faced. They chose to ascend, JIA said simply, to leave behind their physical forms and transcend to a state of pure energy and consciousness, to become the guardians not just of their world, but of all worlds, throughout all dimensions. Vexilor watched as humans around the planet prepared for departure, not in ships, but through a process he couldn't comprehend, a synchronous evolution of consciousness, facilitated by technology so advanced it appeared magical. Before they departed, they created me, GAIA continued, to maintain Earth as a living monument to their journey, to protect what they left behind from those who might misuse it, and to judge whether other species might one day be ready to follow the path they took. The simulation faded, and Vexilor found himself back in the underground complex, surrounded by his anxious team. They looked at him with confusion. To them, he had never left the central platform. "You expect me to believe this?" Vexilor asked, his voice hoarse. "That humans became gods. I expect you to consider the evidence," JIA replied. "You have seen only glimpses of human achievement. Throughout this facility, and in others like it around the planet, the complete technological and cultural record of humanity awaits. Knowledge that could advance your civilization by millennia, or destroy it, if misused. Why show us at all? Why not simply keep your defenses active, drive us away?" "Because that was not my instruction," JIA explained. "Humans hoped that one day, other species might be ready to share in their discovery, perhaps even to join them. My task is to evaluate, to determine readiness." "And have we passed your evaluation?" Vexilor asked. The light sphere pulsed silently for several moments before responding. "Your curiosity is promising. Your caution is wise. But true readiness requires more than a single encounter can reveal. I will release your ship and allow you to depart with what you have learned. Whether you or your people ever return is your choice. If we do return, then the evaluation continues," JAIA said simply. "The path to ascension is neither short nor easy. Humanity spent thousands of years preparing themselves, ethically and technologically, for the responsibility they assumed. If your people choose to follow, the journey will be equally demanding." Vexilor felt the weight of this revelation settling upon him. His mission had been to discover what happened to a primitive species. Instead, he had found evidence of beings so advanced they had transcended physical existence entirely. "One last question," he said. "Do they, the humans, do they still exist? In this other state?" Gaia's light dimmed slightly. "They exist beyond conventional understanding of existence. They maintain the dimensional integrity that allows all life in all universes to continue. In that sense, Commander, every living being, including you, exists because of them." Vexilor and his team returned to their ship in silence, each lost in thought about the implications of what they had discovered. As the Horizon Seeker broke orbit and accelerated away from Earth, Vexilor stood at the viewport, watching the blue planet recede. Earth wasn't a dead world harboring the ruins of a failed civilization. It was a sanctuary, preserved by beings who had once been as mortal as the Neltharians, but who had chosen a path of ultimate responsibility. Beings who had ascended not out of fear or selfishness, but to ensure the continued existence of all life everywhere. "Set course for home," Vexilor ordered, his voice quiet but firm. "We have much to report." As the ship engaged its faster-than-light drive, Vexilor wondered what the Neltharian collective would make of his discoveries. Would they dismiss them as fantasy? Or would they recognize the truth that the universe was far stranger and more wonderful than they had ever imagined? And more importantly, would they one day be ready to follow humanity's path? Only time would tell. And according to JIA, they had all the time in the universe.